Ho ho and welcome to my workshop. My name's Darren and I've got some more 3D prints for you. Let's have a look at them. First off is this half height finder. Now, funny story, I actually ordered one of these off Amazon and it got broken in transit. It never made it here, it got sent back to Amazon. And in the meantime I found this fella. It's quite clever. It just, you put your piece here, your large piece, adjust the height, and this theoretically gives you half the height. Let's take a look at that. Now, I don't know if you can hear that background noise, but it's summer here and I've got the fan on. It's still pretty hot in here though. With this half height finder, it's quite simple. We just drop this piece down onto our block of wood. Now, normally you'd have wing nuts on the back, but as you can see, I've just got plain regular nuts at the moment, so I'm going to have to use a spanner. I'll look at wing nuts later on if this is good. All right. So I've just locked that in place, and I'm going to lock the other one as well. We shouldn't really need it because they're linked into each other. So one should not move without the other. Okay, so theoretically, this should now be half our height. For our little test, what measured here, this is the full height here. This should be exactly half the height. So we're going to come over to here. Okay, so I'm going to mark it with a pencil. Normally I would use a marking knife, but you're not going to be able to see a marking knife mark. So here we go, here's our pencil mark just here. And what we're going to do now is we're going to flip that over. We're going to come back in, and already I think it's off. We're going to draw another pencil mark. Yeah, sadly, I don't know if you can see that they're close. All right, so depending on how accurate you need to be, we've actually got two lines there, but they're so close together it's hard to see. They look like one line. So it's pretty good. If you only need something that's accurate within 1/2 millimetre, that does a good job. So where would you use a tool like this? Well, the first thing that pops to mind for me, of course, is half lap joints. Here on the end of my workbench, which you can see we've had a stain, like literally that stain has spilt there. But anyway, that's irrelevant. And you can see here's half lap joint. You cut a piece out like this, you can see, and that's 1/2, and you do the same on the other, and the two pieces join together. It's a very strong joint because you've got support here. So when this pushes down, it's pushing down on the actual timber. So yeah, quite a strong joint, very good. Now, being woodwork enthusiasts, I'm sure all of you watch Cat Moses as well. And Jonathan Cat Moses has recently released this routing plane. And oh my God, it is beautiful. I am very tempted to do my own review on it, even though Cat Moses has already done one. But never mind. My point here now is that when you've bought a tool that beautiful, you want to store it and look after it well. So I've built this tray so as I can better store the router plane in with all my other planes in my plane drawer. And I've made a few spots for bits and pieces. We've got a couple of screws here, which are used for attaching the fence. This of course here is our fence that goes on the side of the unit. It comes with a couple of Allen keys. We've got spots for that, and you get two blades with it as well. So I've made blade storage, as you can see. I'm getting a bit enthusiastic here because we've got one blade fitted and one blade stored, and I've got spots for 6 blades in all. So I'm really waiting for Jonathan to release the rest of the blades. That should take me up to 4 blades. You never know. And as you can see, the router plane fits in there beautifully. There's also a little spot down the side here for the sharpening handle. What happens is you attach the blades to the sharpening handle when you're doing sharpening on your stone there. Whoops, blade down, Darren, blade down. Yeah, if you are going to make one of these, store your blades down. Now, this might fit other router planes too, but I only own this one, so I don't know. But certainly if you've got yourself a Jonathan Cat Moses router plane, download this, print it out. It's really going to make this last years longer. And so because I was reorganizing my drawer where I keep my planes, I thought, why not make one that fits all the little planes? So I've got one here that fits my Bridge City Toolworks plane and my Stanley low angle block plane. Now, I know from a couple of the comments that some of you have left, you've actually got these now, and a couple of you have got both. So for those of you that have both, perfect. That'll store those nicely for you. And I didn't leave it there. I then moved on to my wooden smoothing plane and made a little container for that. Now this is a bit of a different one because this one has a handle that fits into the plane, and you just take it out the side there, and normally, there we go, if you get it the right way, you actually tap that in a bit further and it locks in there tightly. But for storage, it takes up a lot less space like that. So as you can see, that's got my plane drawer looking pretty neat and pretty well organised. And when Prusa printers finally release the XL, I'll make ones for the rest of the planes. But in the meantime, they're quite happy sitting on a couple of layers of that foam drawer liner. They keep the blades nice and safe. Down here I have my 600mm T-rule that I just received. Unfortunately it's not a woodpecker's, but to be honest I don't think that matters. This is pretty good and it's pretty accurate. But that's not what I'm here to show you. I'm here to show you how I've stored it. I didn't want to have to put it down in a drawer. I wanted to hang it. And I wanted it somewhere close by where I'm working. So there was this spot underneath my vise. If you have a look upwards, there's the vise there. So this was quite handy a spot. So what I've done is I've made a couple of hangers and a couple of little pieces to keep it all nice and straight. So we've got this module up the top which hangs it. There's some little cutouts here so it slides over and drops down onto flat sections. These do two things. Firstly, they push the blade away from this surface so it's actually hanging straight down, not in or out away from the surface, but straight. And it also stops it from moving sideways, so it just stays in nice and neat. So yeah, that is a really handy little storage solution. Now you don't have to buy the 600mm. If you were to use the one that was the size smaller, which may have been 400 or 500, that'll still fit, of course. You'll move this piece higher up, or you'll just use one of these. Now this next one is a hold down stick I made for holding down small items on the miter saw. Now you could use it elsewhere as well, of course, and I just 3D printed it and stuck these little rubber feet on the end, and it actually works really well. I thought $1 million was too much for a stick. This one cost about $4 to print. But let's have a go at this. I'm going to rest my back 2 feet here on the edge of the table, pop that fella in there like that, so he's held in place. I'm just going to do a dry run. Yes, it's not in the way, nothing's obstructed, nothing's going to get hit. And see, my hand now is well away from the blade. And there we are. And what about smaller pieces? Let's give it a try. Don't forget, we want something that can register on the fence. If it's smaller than the fence, I wouldn't bother. I wouldn't be interested in doing it. But again, we just hold that down in place. And there we are. So that's probably the cheapest way to cut small pieces on something like this without chopping your fingers off. A lot less than $1 million stick. Now normally when I make something like this I try and do it without supports, but it was necessary to use supports on either end here. So that's a lot less than if you print it up that way and support it under here. So I use a lot less plastic that way. And like I said, it cost me about $4 in plastic to print out. So that, and I don't know, what's it cost for a pack of these? $2? It's a pretty cheap way to go and could save your fingers. All right. All in all, there are a few different bits there. Something's bound to be handy for you. Have a great day, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye for now.